I've been asked a question. It's a simple question. Should SMEs be involved in standardization? I think the answer you all know, it's no. Okay, bad joke. Anyway, what happens is that, yes, of course we do. We have 95% of the industry, the services and so forth, we're all SMEs. So we, like anybody else involved in standardization, should be participating in it. And that's the simple question. The answer is yes. But I want to talk about more important things, I think, and move slightly away from it. And it's to do with some project work we're doing. One project is to do with Desiero. Desiero is about the whole area of emergency management from the area of reconstruction and recovery planning. And we're trying to engage in this project on getting more end-user participation. So I'm going to take the opportunity now, while I'm TV land, to ask people and those in the audience, if you're involved, if you're a first responder, if you're engaging this area, can you please get onto our website? Can you kindly look at this questionnaire, this survey, and answer it? Why? Because we're trying to know more about you, try to understand what your perception is, and go forward. So that's the first thing to do. So it's destierofp7.eu. If you could kindly do that, I fully appreciate it. The second project is that we're working on is called Sector. Now, Sector is very much so following what Dennis was talking about earlier on. It's about return of experiences. Now, what we have in this project is that we're putting together a very much so a collaborative common information system whereby crisis management is seen. We're trying to put together based on past experiences. In other words, those people who've been involved in the area of responding to a crisis, learning from them, getting their experiences, and very much so engaging with first agency, cross borders to get the information from them with a view of putting a system together, and that system together will be able to be used. That's a big statement. In other words, we're using the knowledge and experience that was out there and using it. Why? Because in the future, as Janet said earlier on, there's going to be a crisis. It's going to happen. So why don't we use the knowledge that we have? Now, Sector, I want to bring to your attention again. Get onto the website, you'll see it. It tells you all about how we're actually engaging from people who have lived through bad experiences, who have it, the first responders. We're gathering the information, we're putting it together. It's going to be available to others to use. And that's ongoing at the moment. The third project we're working on is a thing called big data. It's something you're going to hear more and more about it. It's not necessarily to do with security, but big data is a huge issue. And we're using this for the fish farming community. Again, I won't go into details about it, but big data is phenomenal. And if you look at security, the amount of data and information that we have is incredible. What do we do with it? Certainly not enough at this stage. So the future is going to be about big data. Not necessarily ICT, but information that we can use, that is valued, that can become forward. Now that brings me to the third area. Interoperability. I've used this word so many times in the past that I'm kind of getting tired of using it because people don't understand interoperability. If I say what's interoperability to one person, can somebody raise their hand, just anybody, and just answer the question. What is interoperability mean to you? Go ahead.
Interoperability means to be in a state to be interoperable, work together jointly with other forces/units on a joint task.
Well, I couldn't put it better myself.
So we're going to sort of blow that.
Well, I'm glad you got it. I know this learn from it. Well, if you talk about interoperability, there are actually 5 levels of interoperability. The first level, technical interoperability. You're talking about IT systems talking together. Then the next level you're talking about is semantic, the very important semantic interoperability. What does it mean? When you use language, when you use data, when it's transferred, it's defined, it's preserved, and it's understood. And I know from talking to various people that has never come across. Then you go to the third level. The third level is very much what talks about operational interoperability. So in other words, cross-border agencies are working together and they're sharing information so that they can learn from each other. And when the information is put across, they can react decisively in efficiency. The fourth level very much so is the hard part. This is the legal. So when you go across from the area of interoperability, you have to have synchronization of the information, the data is transferred, and be able to have some kind of weighing factors such that when the information is used in another member state, they can use it effectively. Now that's a very hard one to get, and at this point in time, we're doing okay on the technical interoperability. We're doing okay on the semantic. We're really good on the cross-border. It's really getting better at this stage. The final one is the politics, the policies. And this is the area which Philippe today, I think, that's why I congratulate him. We're at the start of this process here. Eventually, it's like the pyramid effect. It all filters down. And that's where we are today. So I think at this stage, I think we're to be congratulated to be here. I think we should congratulate Philip for the work he's doing. But we have to learn going forward. There are many, many factors facing us. And when it comes to standardization, Elena made it very clear. She wants everybody, the SMEs, the large players, to engage. Why? Because standardization is the fundamental area. If the standards are wrong, then we won't be efficient, we won't be effective, and the more SMEs we get involved in this process, I think the better. Thank you.
Very interesting contribution.